welcome to this episode of the Drink Less, Live Better podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Williamson, and I'm really glad you're here with me today. A word on self-awareness. You know when you replay a conversation in your mind while making tea or standing at a road crossing or brushing your teeth, and you wonder whether your tone sounded sharper than you meant. Maybe somebody's reaction suddenly makes sense, or you reconsider the thing you said from another perspective. Yeah, that's the thing we're talking about today. People talk about self-awareness as though it's a really polished achievement, something that you strive towards and then get. A shiny adult milestone alongside compost bins and scatter cushions. In reality, it isn't like that. Self-awareness shifts from one day to the next. Some mornings it's crystal clear and you understand yourself and everything you've ever stood for. And other days, not so much. You find yourself questioning every thought you ever had and every action you ever took. At its core, self-awareness means recognising what's happening inside you whilst you move through the world. Thoughts and actions, yes, but also reactions, habits, emotional patterns, motivations, and it also includes noticing how your behaviour affects other people. A kind of internal weather report with occasional surprise thunderstorms and or rainbows. Some people seem naturally tuned into themselves. They can name emotions with alarming precision. They know when they're overwhelmed before they snap at anyone. They sense patterns early. Other people move through life with less reflection, and that doesn't mean avoidance or emotional immaturity. Sometimes it just comes down to upbringing. A child who grows up around emotionally expressive adults often learns the language of inner experience quite early. Someone raised in an environment where feelings stayed hidden may become highly skilled at functioning while remaining disconnected from themselves. And culture plays a part too. Certain communities reward introspection, others place greater value on endurance, humour, practicality, keeping things moving. Personality, that is going to matter. Some people naturally monitor themselves closely, others focus outwardly. Neither approach guarantees happiness. A person with deep insight can still make chaotic decisions. Hello. Someone less reflective may live quite peacefully. There's also timing. Plenty of self-awareness arrives through friction. Relationships, parenthood, grief, burnout. A horrible job with fluorescent lighting and a manager who sends quick catch-up messages or asks for a meeting at 4:57. Human beings often discover themselves through discomfort because of difficult experiences. Self-awareness carries a strange reputation as an unquestionable good. More awareness, more growth, more healing, more self-actualization, except there's a point where awareness starts circling itself endlessly like a snake eating its tail. Too much self-awareness can become exhausting. Go on, ask me how I know. Some people develop a detailed understanding of their every emotion, reaction and social interaction that they lose all spontaneity. Every conversation gets analysed, every silence becomes evidence. They monitor themselves in real time, almost like a live commentary track. That level of self-observation creates a bit of distance from actual living. You'll see it in people who consume huge amounts of self-development content. They become fluent in therapeutic language whilst feeling increasingly anxious. Every boundary needs evaluation. Every feeling requires interpretation. Every relationship becomes a case study. The human experience starts resembling a spreadsheet with emotional colour coding. And there's another layer too. Highly self-aware people sometimes carry excessive responsibility for group dynamics. They notice the tension quickly, they anticipate the reactions, they adapt constantly, and over time this is knackering. The sweet spot probably sits somewhere between reflection of self and participation in life. Enough awareness to recognise patterns, enough perspective to pause before reacting, enough honesty to admit when something feels off, yet also enough freedom to stay present without mentally hovering over your own shoulder all day. Healthy self-awareness should feel spacious. It allows room for a bit of contradiction. You can be generous and impatient, confident and uncertain, loving and occasionally a bit difficult. Human beings contain entire junk drawers of mixed qualities, and maybe self-awareness helps to organise them slightly. But there's also value in recognising that self-awareness has limits. Nobody sees themselves fully. Other people act as mirrors for the parts we miss. Friends notice our strengths before we do. Partners spot habits we've normalised, and even strangers reveal things through our reactions to them. Coaches, counsellors, therapists help us to see parts of ourselves we might not have noticed before. Supporting ourselves through all this starts with a bit of gentleness, rather than relentless self-correction. Allow the questions to stay simple. What's been taking up my emotional space lately? When do I feel most like myself? Which situations leave me feeling tense for hours afterwards? Where do I feel calm without performing? Answers are going to change over time, and that's part of the human experience. Self-awareness isn't a final destination. It's an ongoing relationship with yourself. And the aim probably isn't perfect understanding. It may just be becoming familiar enough with your own mind that life feels slightly less confusing and perhaps a little more connected. And that's just going to be enough. Thank you for being here with me today. You can find me on Instagram at drinklesslivebetter and online at drinklesslivebetter.com, where you'll find lots of supportive resources. Check out today's podcast show notes for a link to a hidden episode that will help with your 5 p.m. cravings and details about my one-to-one life coaching and sober coaching programs. And P.S. I believe in you.